In this episode, we send the container and follow it on IS and webcam from harbour to harbour across the ocean. We start the long and tiresome voyage to Tahiti, and we're exhausted when we finally land in paradise. While we wait for the container to arrive, we dress up in local clothes and experience Tahiti in all its glory. After a long week of waiting, finally the truck arrives. Is it really our container? We are bursting with excitement as we break the seal. We built our Wharram Tiki 38 inspired by traditional Polynesian double canoes. She's flush-decked, has an outdoor galley and without a roof. Our ambitious plan includes dismantling our little ship, putting her in a container and transporting her across the 7 seas on a cargo ship. Destination: Tahiti in French Polynesia. Upon arrival, we will reassemble our vessel, hoist the mast, stock up on provisions and sail into new and thrilling adventures in one of the world's top sailing paradises. We wave the container farewell on an icy February morning after a hectic period filled with ups and quite a few downs. But now BareBare is finally on her way. We book our flights, get our massive suitcases from the attic and start packing. Mostly boat gear. As we track the container ship online, each harbour brings a mix of excitement and anxiety. In Le Havre there's a webcam, and we try to spot Karu, the container, among thousands of containers. And now we are hoping for fair winds for our little ship stacked up somewhere on that huge container ship. Our little vessel BareBare is all alone. We hope the parrot Norwegian Blue, though not a real parrot, will keep BareBare company. In Panama, we can see that container ship is taking an extra round. Could it be out of pure happiness, arriving land after a long journey on the sea? The next thing we see is that the container is all of a sudden on land. We become rather surprised when we realize that the container Karu with BareBare inside has been lifted onto a train and is now going through Panama by train instead of on a ship. BareBare is for sure having an interesting journey. On the other side of Panama, the container is once more lifted onto a ship, but the IS, the Maritime Communication System, now tells us it's on its way to China. And I don't want to pick up BareBare in China and rather worried I call the agent in Oslo. He gives me new info. BareBare is sent on another ship and is truly on its way to Tahiti. Do not worry, he says. We sent thousands of containers and so far they have all reached their destination. So far is all I can hear. We spend the cold winter and spring planning, packing, unpacking and weighing the suitcases. And then we start over again. We take some more vaccines and we slowly get ready for our rather unusual adventure. Or let's call it a madcap expedition. On a lovely morning in late April, we get on the plane and start the long journey. First stop is Paris. Before we board for Tahiti, half a way around the world and with 12 hours of time difference.
Les membres d'équipage portant un insigne en forme d'aile assurent votre sécurité à bord. L'équipage est à votre disposition pour rendre.
After 12 long hours, we arrive San Francisco. We have to pick up our huge suitcases, walk quickly through the long transit just to board the same plane and travel another 10, 12 uncomfortable hours. When we finally arrive at the airport in Tahiti at 5 in the morning, we're greeted by loud sounds of singing and drums, accompanied by dancers with hips moving like a Scandinavian never could accomplish. At least I couldn't do it. The air is hot and humid and bursting with colors. We feel grey and pale, and our heads are spinning from jet lag. We pick up our rental car and drive halfway across the island to Taravao. The landscape is incredibly lush, with flowers we only seen in botanical gardens back home, and birds with calls we never heard before. We made it to what feels like paradise. Now we just have to wait for the container to arrive. While waiting, we explore the island. We quickly find a thrift shop and transform into colorful foreigners, at least in terms of clothing. We travel around the island and enjoy its beauty. It rains a lot, and we later find out that Taravao is the place in French Polynesia with the most rain. But we fall in love with the smiling people and the stunning scenery. I don't know a word of French, the language mostly spoken, but since most people also speak Tahitian, I decided to go for it. From that moment on, I try to pick up and remember every word possible. The waiting continues. The container is delayed and the agent cannot tell us when it will arrive. A few days of waiting stretch into a week. The 1 week we had booked accommodation is running out, and still no container has arrived. In our search for a new place to stay, we meet Meme, a former Las Vegas dancer with a home full of memories from a long life. She welcomes us like family, cracking open a coconut for each of us with a machete and later preparing a traditional feast. The language barrier fades as we share stories, meals and laughter, all while the local lizards entertain us with their cockroach catching skills. Every day we visit the shipyard to hear if there are any news of the container. Ivan nods his head no. But finally, when meeting Andrea, an Italian with a bright yellow steel sailboat and a smiling face, our luck turns. Andrea calls the harbor office in Papeete. Him speaking French seems to help a lot and gives us the news.
3h30. Ok. Bon, merci. À tout à l'heure. She said yes, but she arrived in 3:30.
3:30 instead?
Around 3:30.
So the container is to arrive on a Wednesday. Thursday is bank holiday and closed at the shipyard, and Friday, believe it or not, we booked Ivan to launch BareBare. We are racing against the clock. Finally, it's Wednesday, the day we've been waiting for. We arrive early at the shipyard, anxiously watching the clock. 3 o'clock passes, then 3:30, then 4. The shipyard is about to close its big gates, and BareBare is nowhere in sight. Panic sets in. But then, just as hope begins to fade, a big truck rolls in.
Yes, her kommer det en container, og det står Karu på den. Det er veldig bra. Vi var litt redde for at det skulle stå Mersk. Da hadde vi blitt livredde. Det er sånn cirka en uke og noen timer etter at containeren ankom fra PC. Her er en gjeng som er ganske fornøyde. Det er mulig at vi må holde oss litt unna. Jan, er det riktig container?
Jeg tror ikke det er riktig container.
Du tror det står Mersk på vår?
Jeg tror det er kinesisk plastleketøy.
Tror du det er vår container?
Det ser veldig ut som vår container.
Yes!
Endelig!
Ja, der kommer det noen sånne lette slags armer eller noe sånt. Lette bein, kanskje, ikke armer. Container har jo dette. Er containeren full av rotter? Er det en båt inni der? Er det pulver? Hva er det som er helt inni? Det er veldig spennende. Han ordner med noen støtter her. Vi skal under sånn for å rette den opp, og det gjør han Ivan i den andre enden. Og muligvis snart er Erik også, vi får se. Ja, der kommer det Erik også. Da er vi i gang med å bryte forskjellene, eller vi, det er Leif Erik som går på med Red Bull. Vi skal bare støtte av det som er igjen her. Det ser ikke ut som det er så veldig mye igjen av det.
Men tollvesenet har sikkert vært inne i den.
Nei, vi har ikke vært inne i den. Nei, ikke vært inne i den. Da hadde den da vært brutt.
Han går ut. Ja, han var sånn da.
Thank you to all our amazing supporters and subscribers. Your encouragement keeps us motivated and means the world to us. Join our tribe today for just the price of a coffee each month. Let's build something extraordinary together. We are creating a special mug for each episode of our adventure. Start collecting now and become part of the journey.